Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. We are so excited to have our next guest joining us here to talk more about, Nanny Poppins. And Nanny Poppins Agency is amazing. It's not just for nannies, even though the name says it, but they're really a staffing agency that's helping so many families throughout the United States, maybe even internationally. I got to find that out. But in the meantime, let me first I'll have Emily introduce herself, say hello, and tell us a little bit about what it is that you do with Nanny Poppins.
Hello, my name is Emily Thompson. I am the creative director for Nanny Poppins. I've been in many different roles for the agency. I've also been placed through the agency as a nanny and a house manager.
Perfect. And Jen, do you want to introduce yourself before we begin as well? Just I see your mic is muted. Sorry. There you go.
Thanks, Jen. Hi, my name is Jenn Sherr. I'm the senior recruiter with the Nanny Poppins Agency and been here for 6 years. And thanks for having us.
Well, what is the Nanny Poppins Agency? Tell us.
Nanny Poppins is a nationwide high-end domestic staffing agency. So we can place anyone that works in your home, your private office, your family business. So now we're not just domestic staffing. We really can place anyone anywhere. However, obviously for the past 30 years with a name like Nanny Poppins, we have placed many nannies, of course. But we, in addition, other domestic staffing, we do chefs, butlers, housekeepers, personal assistants, groundskeeper, landscaper, anybody that can work in or out of your home.
Fantastic. And how can we contact you all?
So you can call our main office line at 888-849-6090 if you would like more information about working with the agency. You might even end up speaking to Jenn or I.
Yay! All right. Well, thank you so much. Excited. Again, from newborn care specialists to chefs, they do it all, even elder care. So they're here to help anyone. And let me just find out both sides of the end here, right? So you have Jen on the recruiting side, right? So are you recruiting the new clients or the clientele?
I do both. I talk to a lot of the calls that come in initially and also help recruit for their jobs as well.
Now, this company's been around since, I believe, 95, right? This is pretty impressive. The work that Jennifer Bouchard, who's not here with us today, but she's the owner, and she is pretty amazing in all the work she's done. And she's such a amazing personality and force to be reckoned with because she loves what she does as a mom, as a business owner, and she's been helping people really nationwide for so long. So let's, we have the holidays coming up. I want to just dive into that for a second because it's very important. Same like, if you go to the stores, you have a lot of holiday staffing at this time of year. Does that kind of work with you as well? Is there people who are in the need of just holiday or temporary type staff work for this season, these few months? Let's discuss that if we can, girls.
So I'll touch on that quickly. So we can staff almost anything temporarily. And this is a time of year where a lot of families are traveling. They need a nanny for their children. Their current nanny's not working. So we can staff a travel nanny. Also, there's people that have holiday functions and are looking for a chef just temporarily or a chef to travel with them. We can staff that. There's also people that can work remotely for families, help with organization. They can email them lists. They can help with all of that as like a personal assistant. We just placed a hybrid role for a nanny. So temporarily we can do that, full-time, long-term, but so there's many roles that when coming to the holiday season, where people are starting to get really excited about things going on, where we can staff all those roles temporarily and for travel.
You mentioned a hybrid nanny. Could you just share, was that doing the nanny hands-on care with the families? And then is that what they were organizing, doing lists while they're home? Or is that what that was?
This was a family who didn't really like a lot of people in their home, to be quite frank. They really just liked the privacy of their home. So they wanted a hybrid nanny. It was 90% hybrid, 10% in the home. So they would share Google Docs, they would share calendars and kind of create a list for the hybrid nanny to do. And of course, if they needed to pick up for school, the nanny would be present. But it is kind of like a house manager / nanny hybrid role where they can utilize the skills from somebody for, personal assistant, house manager, doesn't happen to be house manager, nanny, but it's just a different kind of role where people are thinking like nanny can only work in the home. And now that a lot of people work from home, we do staff those kinds of positions.
Wow, I'm loving this. Did you want to touch upon that too, Emily?
Yeah, that was a very interesting role for us. We have placed mostly hybrid roles before, because a lot of the personal assistant or family assistant work can be done remotely. A lot of what they're doing can be done on a computer, or is an errand or a task, something they would be doing outside of the house anyway. So we do see a lot of roles like that. Another interesting role for nannies, I think we've seen, I don't know that it's an increase, but it's just another interesting thing to talk about. It's called a rotational nanny, which means you'll be on 1 week, off the next. So it's kind of similar to many healthcare workers that'll do like work through a whole weekend and have the week off. My mother's a nurse and she was a rotational nurse for a while. You're on for a week, but then you're completely off for a week, or sometimes it's 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. So when a lot of people think of a nanny, they think of the Monday through Friday or maybe after school, but there's so many different titles and subtitles to being a nanny. It's kind of crazy.
Well, this is amazing because you are more than a one-stop shop. You are very reputable. People might say, well, why do I have to use this agency? Why don't I just go on? Do I even say it? I could say care.com. I've had horrible experiences with it. I'm just going to be honest, and I'll tell you how I feel about it, because every person that was looking for part-time babysitters when I was working a lot, and not reliable, not screened, not dependable. I'm sorry. So people who may believe in it, I'm just saying, like, you guys are a whole different entity, like the real deal. So, and shortcuts, people want to use that for every now and then. It may not be the best thing, but just saying, you are a different beast.
It's very true. It's very true. And, it's funny that you say that. We have a lot of clients that they come to us because of a bad care.com, Sitter City. They posted their own ad. They just had a bad experience. Either the person started and everything was great and they completely ghosted, which we see happen a lot.
Ghost, that's the word. They ghost.
Yes. Yes. And that being said, I have found work as a nanny before working with agencies. That's the only way I knew to find work, when it was more than just word of mouth babysitting in my own community. I had to find actual jobs. And so I did find a couple jobs on care.com, but I also, it's funny, you had a bad experience on my end of things. I had a bad experience as the candidate. The background check they run is not thorough at all. So, my name is Emily Thompson. So a lot of times all they do is run your name and your state. It's a pretty common name. So if you run Emily Thompson in Massachusetts, the last time I ran my own background check that care.com provides, there were like 30 something arrests. And I was like, oh, that's probably why I didn't hear back from that family. But none of those Emily Thompsons were me. If you looked at any of them, most of them were not even the same age. So it's we can't speak for the thoroughness of that. And really anybody can go on and make a care.com profile. We're not going to send our clients just anybody that applied. We're not looking to place an exchange. We're not looking to place somebody that they're not 100% excited about. We do want to work with career professionals, and we want to help people that want to get into this industry become career professionals.
Wow. Well, also, let's remind everyone, nannypoppensagency.com. You can go right there to the website, and there's even some current listings on there. You can look what's happening, and it's not, originally it was just the Northeast, but are you worldwide, or is it nationwide still?
For now, we're nationwide.
Okay, I'm like, is it? I'm like, okay. And if you go on their website, there's Oh, go ahead.
I'm trying to think. I believe we have placed for people in the Bahamas as well. Like there's a couple other areas we're able to do it. It's different everywhere, but yeah.
And could we just go over some of the placement process just so people know what we're dealing with? Because it's pretty vigorous, the background check and all that, as you just kind of mentioned. But what's the next process?
Well, just to touch on the nationwide versus international, I just wanted to emphasize that one of the things we can do is if families do travel, they hire a nanny and they do travel, say to Europe for 2 or 3 weeks, they can absolutely bring the nanny with them.
Yes.
So we can place like a nanny in a family that travels to Europe or travels anywhere in the world. We just want to clarify on that. And in terms of, and in terms of the vetting process, we spend hours screening and vetting people. Because Jennifer's owned the company for 30 years, we do have an inner pool of candidates that we know and that we've worked with over and over again, and that we also have screened and vet. But We spend a thorough pre-screening call with the candidate. We also meet them for a formal interview, asking them a series of questions. And we do what's called more traditional recruiting, which means that we won't take, like, someone can give you 3 letters of recommendation, but we actually call the reference on the phone. We have a series of 12 questions that we ask. We provide the families with those references that have the phone number on it. And we absolutely encourage, if the families would like to call and speak to them themselves, we try to match the dates of employment with the references. So if someone worked from, say, June 2020 to June 2023, when we call the reference, we give them those dates. And then we're also getting many certifications. For example, if someone's a newborn care specialist, like we talked about previously, we would get their certification. We always get their ID. And so we're spending hours getting to know these candidates inside and out, not just as nannies, but we ask a lot of personal questions. So we can really get to know them very well.
And I also want to point out, I looked at the website earlier, just, I always check the updates, right? And even nannies are being hired, right? Not just females anymore, but there's families out there who want men around their children, who do more sports, more of the activities. Not to say women can't, because we can, but I love seeing that too, that it's so versatile now. And we are seeing men, right, being hired as nannies. Absolutely.
Yes. Actually, I write the blogs for our agency. I wrote a blog about that not long ago, about the rise in nannies. Yes. Our owner, Jennifer, she has had a nanny. She moved back to Massachusetts. So obviously he's not with them anymore, but he was with their family for years. They absolutely loved him. Yeah. Many families we find do benefit from having a nanny. It's just the energy that they need. We find many single mothers with boys, they're interested in a nanny. Maybe they wouldn't have been before. So yeah, it's very interesting to watch. And it's very, as a female and as a former career nanny, I'm always kind of looking at men that want to take care of children sideways, like, what?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm not used to this. So it's, but we've met a lot of really great male candidates that have been and will continue to be great caretakers for kids. And it's great that they're busting into the industry. We love to see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
House managers there's male house managers, male chef, male, personal assistant. So even though state manager. Yeah. So males they can obviously do all roles, and people are excited to see both female and women for those roles.
Yes.
Awesome. Yep. Well, ladies, what else would you like to share today about the Nanny Poppins agency, the work the two of you are doing, and really doing a lot of? Because, again, the expansion is pretty amazing, from personal assistants to housekeepers to there's so many things. You're doing estate management now, and like you mentioned, even organizations. So what else did you want to share with us?
I think, we just wanted to reiterate today that it is now November, and that means, if you're like me, it's basically Christmas, and that means that we've got some planning to do. I know my family is considering hiring a chef for the holidays. So we've had some incidents cooking-wise in the past couple of years, so I know many members of my family are considering hiring a temporary chef. There's a lot of roles that can be temporary for the holidays, not just a chef, not just a nanny. Some people might need more help around the house because they have family there, maybe a housekeeper. Another thing that we can easily staff is a day of coordinator, similar to what they'd have at a wedding. A lot of families, when they gather, it is a full itinerary day of events. We can easily staff a day of coordinator that can kind of be there as like an assistant on that day. And has, we can obviously screen people that have admin work, assistant work like that. So there really are a lot more roles than you might traditionally think of when you're thinking about the holidays.
Even the recruiter role, I saw that available too on your website, looking for more recruiters, right?
We're always trying to expand, so we're always talking to more recruiters, yes.
Awesome. Well, in the line of work, can I just ask you, what would you say sometimes is the most challenging part of the job, finding that perfect fit for a family, no matter what position it is? Would you mind just sharing some of those, the hardships, the challenges?
I think some of the challenges from the point of that, when a family registers with the agency, we are very confident that we can place a position. Most of the time, we don't charge any upfront costs for that. That's one of those specific reasons. And I think one of the challenges is understanding the amount of depth that goes into qualifying these candidates for the families and the communication that we do. So we're not just calling people on the phone. We are really getting to know the people. So when someone calls to register and they're looking for, say, a live-in nanny, we are always in communication with them. But if we don't hear back from them, and then that's always been a challenge because we're working very hard on our end. And I don't always know if people know how hard, Jennifer's established agency for 30 years. We work on ethics and integrity, and we're constantly working to find people the right fit. And we believe that we can. So I think one of the challenges is people don't always understand what we do, which makes sense. How would they, if they've never worked with an agency? So that might be a challenge, and want people to know that when we really, really work very hard and we're really capable of the marketing platform, we put jobs on, the client, all the things Jennifer's put in place for us to use to find qualified people.
Got it. And, over, time, I'm sure there's been instances where, sometimes the fit doesn't work out, but that's where you all with your expertise come in handy, because they have that ability to come to you, right? The client or to let them know there's something not right, and you always make it right. You have your pocket and a hand of resources and other potential candidates, right? So I'm sure that's happened before, but you being a part of the agency, it's not, we're done with you, you're hired, you're there, you're working, see you later. You're hands-on with that, right? So if there is any problems, could you explain how that does work?
We are working 24/7 all the time. Go ahead, Emily. But we're always on. Yeah.
I was just going to say, exactly. Like Jen said, there is someone available to help you 7 days a week, whether it's Jen, myself, Jennifer. There's not that many of us. We are a small business, but we are always available to help. We work very hard. We are very involved with both the client and the candidate. Jen and myself just worked on a placement together recently. And actually, Jen just checked in with the client. It's going great. I have a calendar alert to check in with my candidate that I was working with, that I placed in that position. It's been going great on her end as well. And that was a true matchmaking experience. Like when we say we get to know them, these two had so much, they fell in love with each other on their interview. This mom, this amazing mom, and this great candidate we have. And for me, that's why I do it, is to be able to have stories like I have from when I was a nanny with families I still keep in touch with. That still means so much to me, with kids that are grown, which I don't like to say. Mm-hmm. That ages me by the minute when they're also aging. But yeah, we are a true boutique experience. We check in regularly after the placement. We want, we want to make sure that it works. We want everything to work out. We work with our clients. There's never been an incident where we do not attempt to work out something with our client. We always work it out with our client.
Perfect. And I love that you have options and another pool of people to pull from, in a sense. And, let me ask, there was also, I think Jennifer and I spoke a few weeks ago, and there was even, she was doing, was it trucking management or something? She was doing a job for someone. What was that about?
We had a client who who had a baby, and they were looking for 2 nannies. And then they also owned a trucking company. And so we did a search for drivers for that client, for his trucking company. So that happens quite frequently with the agency, that a client will register and maybe they have a business, and then they realize, wow, you found this amazing nanny. Can you find an accountant? Can you find a concierge for us? Can you find a truck driver for us? Oh, I need a personal assistant. Can you find that too? So it's kind of like this chain that goes along with the relationships that we build with the clients. And Jennifer's had the company for so long that we have many return clients that have formed relationships with the agency based on that experience and requesting positions like trucking or, housekeeping or whatever it may be. Like there's no position that we can't do.
Wow.
The only limitation we have is that, because Jen was saying earlier, we can help families that travel internationally, or maybe they're traveling here from another country and they'd like a temporary nanny. The only limitation on our end, I guess, if you want to call it that, is we can only place, per our licensing, we can only place candidates that are authorized to work in the U.S. So that's kind of so we can place a nanny that goes to live with a family somewhere else. We can do that placement, or a temporary position like Jenn was speaking about. But there really is, I mean, I'm trying to think of all the positions that are not domestic. Didn't we have a position for someone to work in like an art gallery at one point a couple years ago?
Oh yeah, it was
yes, yeah. We've really had the whole gambit. I mean, we've placed private duty nurses, which is obviously that can be domestic, of course, but we've placed nurses, like real RNs, not just like, you know, an infant nurse that isn't actually a nurse. We've placed real private duty RNs. We've placed, I think, like we've spoken about before, IT people, high-end concierge, security, trucker. I mean, we really, I think when clients realize how thorough our process is compared to a more corporate company that would just do the standard recruitment, we're looking at resumes, we're sending them over. What is it on average? I think Jenn and I were talking about this the other day, or maybe it was someone else I was talking to, but I feel like we have already spoken with and talked with our candidates for at least like 6 hours before we even send them to you. That's how well we've gotten to know them. We really, between all the communication, the interview, getting us stuff, the screen, trying to track them down, we spend a lot of time on each candidate. So we're not just sending you something to throw, you know, hoping it sticks. We're sending you someone that we're hoping you're interested in potentially hiring.
Got it. Well, thank you for sharing that. And we still have 4 minutes left in the show. More time to chat and to talk about, potential openings for those out there who are interested in working for you, or obviously having someone work for them. And, you know, people say, well, why Nanny Poppins? Well, clearly, you have so much under your belt, and you're a team of people who work hard, who do your thorough background check and have amazing time reviews, like great, and accredited by the Better Business Bureau. You have an A+ rating, which is important to know. And it's not just live in, live out nannies, caregivers. You're doing so much for professionals these days. Is there anything, you know, that we would say is most challenging about the process that someone should be aware of? You know, how long does it take? Is that sometime an issue? Or some people say, I need someone now, and like you can turn it around and get that person. Is that, you know, how does that work?
Yeah, we can place jobs in a day. I mean, if someone calls us on the phone, which we've done, and says like, I need someone today, like we will work our hardest to place it that day. I mean, we place jobs in a day, 2 days, a week, but to your question, they'll have an account manager right away, and then they'll know exactly what's going on with their search all the time, at least 3 times a week. But we literally place jobs in a day, 2 days. We can place them very quickly if we have done that in the past. Can we do them all? No, but we try. Yeah, we try to make sure that we find that right match that Emily was talking about.
Oh my goodness! Well, you guys are great. We've spoken before. We miss Jennifer, who's the owner in charge, but she's a spunky thing. She's always busy. She's got just amazing, but she's just so like enamored by her and her accomplishments as a woman in this field and what she's done and how she's created this agency, because it's something I'd never heard of, you know. And everyone, you think about Nanny Poppins and you think about Mary Poppins, and it's that person that is just like gonna swoop on in, take care of your family, take care of what you need, and like smile, not have anything to worry about. And that's the way it should be, right? If you're going to an agency, you want the best quality candidates. You want the best people working for you. You want, and you get that. You deliver, which is important. And how did you guys want to kind of close off for the day?
In closing, call us today to find out more. I'm available. Jenn's available. I am available until 6:30 Eastern tonight. I'm more than happy to speak with any prospective client. Even if they just have questions about the industry, we want, in general, people to be more informed about this industry, because a lot of clients that come in, before we're even registering them, we're educating them on a lot. Okay. And it's not that they have any issue with what we're saying to them. It's that they just had no way of knowing a lot of these industry facts and cultures that we know. So we would love to speak with anybody who wants to call us today.
All right.
The number's
thank you.
188. It's 188-849-6090.
Perfect. And the website?
nannypopinsagency.com.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Pleasure having you here. Tell Jennifer we said hello. And again, holidays are here, everyone. Maybe at the time you maybe need someone just temporarily. They're available for that as well. And no question, too small. Reach out. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jill. Have a good one.
You too. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Of course my kid's in the right car seat. Well, I think he is.
Yeah, my kid's in a booster seat. He was ready to move up. He is ready, right?
Her car seat looks like the right size.
There are probably rules on when to move up to a booster seat, aren't there?
Rear facing, forward facing. I think I have it right.
Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Don't think you know. Know you know. Go to safercar.gov/the right seat.
I know my child's in the right car seat, or else I wouldn't get in the driver's seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.